Hey, I'm live. Okay. I don't know if anybody will get the notice because it's been a long time. And we know what those algorithms do, don't we? Okay. But just take this if you don't see it the first time around. Take it as a notice. I think I'm back to work now. I've had a lot going on still, and it's just been the longest time. It's taken for me forever. It's like every time I would try to get on, something happened and I couldn't get on. I couldn't stream. There was either somebody at the door, or there was a bunch of phone calls, or there was something that had to be handled right away, or there was just, or I'd feel like I was going to fall asleep, or some weird thing. And I'm thinking, am I sabotaging myself, or is this happening for a good reason? Well, I talked it over with a few of my more psychic friends. Looks like it happened for a good reason, but I'm not sure how to explain it unless you can understand that maybe you do this too. Some of us, when we sleep, we're working. And apparently, they needed all the help they could get. Uh, but the dreams, I think I mentioned before, my dreams. Oh, Pam. Hey, Pam, how you doing? Good to see you. Please drop an announcement if you can. Yeah, and so I think I mentioned before my dreams were never happy. They were always full of strife. They were always kind of tragic or something. And I guess what was happening was I was helping people in my sleep. And it was so necessary, I guess, that I was just getting knocked out. So I guess it was more important than doing the streaming. And maybe it was. I mean, we don't always understand these things from a 3D avatar basis, but sometimes you got to look at it at the bigger picture, in which case something needed to happen. Um, and the way that came to me that, yeah, that is what's happening. I believe this was a synchronicity that was explaining it to me, is that I had a dream and it was a recurring dream, that I was with someone who was pinned face down, and we were all, I mean, she and I were pinned face down somewhere under something. And we couldn't even move. It was, you know, face almost on the ground and stuff against the back, and can't move ourselves around to even turn and try and crawl out or anything. And I said, well, I guess we could sing to keep our spirits up. And the person across from me said, was a woman, said, yeah, until the water comes. And that's all of it that I got consciously. So then, about the next day, after I said, okay, I need to know what's going on here, because I got this dream a couple of times. And I saw a news article about a woman who was trapped under rubble, and they couldn't figure out how to get her out without crushing her. even though they knew that the area was going to flood. And they finally decided that it was more humane to leave her there to drown than to crush her, getting her out. It was a very unfortunate situation. I think that I was there with her to keep her company before she died, to keep her spirits up before she died. I think that was the woman. Which means, funny, when the war started, sure enough, I was somewhere where there were soldiers, and I saw a picture of it. It looked, the terrain and the way the soldiers were dressed, the color of the uniforms and everything were the same. It appears that I'm somebody's guardian angel or performing that function. It isn't the first time. This has happened before. And this is how some of us, just roll. But apparently it was more important that I do that than stream. And even though I miss you guys so much, and I know it's going to take a little work to get anybody back into the stream, to get watchers and stuff back on the stream, it'll probably take some work. But if that's what I needed to do, I mean, was it that I had to allow that? I mean, you know, it's not, maybe it's not as important. It's hard to think sometimes that your life is not exactly your own, your 3D ego's own anyway. It is, I'm sure I agreed to this. I'm sure this is one of the things I'm supposed to be doing. But all my life, it's kind of played havoc with my 3D life. And this isn't a new thing. But I must have agreed to do it. So there you are. This is not an excuse, but just wanted you to know there was that. Another one of my friends went missing for a while. She did turn up. That would have made 3. And she did turn up, though. It turns out she's okay for the most part right now. But 2 of them have not turned up yet. So I still don't know what's going on with them. There have been some things I've had to get rid of for people. That's just par for the course. There's a lot of stuff clearing out in my head. And you know what? It's interesting. I was thinking spring cleaning. I think we're all going to be doing spring cleaning if you haven't been doing your shadow work. I think a lot of us, it sounds to me like a lot of us have been doing shadow work. That is, dealing with our shadows, dealing with the last remnants of drama and trauma and other 3D BS that is still kind of hanging around, haunting us. I know that I've been getting rid of my mental blocks. I've been playing with my mental blocks and trying to delete a lot of them. Um, like I had one where every time I would visit with David for a while, he'd visit me on the astral and we'd talk a bit, but I would start to cry. Something would remind me of something and I'd start to cry. And I had to get over that, because it's like, and he's very understanding about that, thank goodness. But I figure, what a drag it must be to every time somebody sees you, they burst into tears. Well, because so much happened. It brought up so much that happened that, and it's not just the years that, and the times and what happened, all that happened. It's just what I've been through this life has been very dramatic and it's been kind of hard to deal with. And I didn't want to take it out on him or anybody else. Uh, Although I've had a lot of good ideas come up to talk about. One thing I'm going to say right in the beginning, I want to remind everybody, and this is some of you who know how these things all go, you'll know why I'm saying this. But don't forget that everything that I discuss here is has nothing to do with real life because real life is outside the matrix. So you can take it as entertainment and farce if necessary. Take it that way because it is going to be funny. We're going to make fun of a lot of stuff. So that's really going to be a large part of this. But just remember, it doesn't have anything to do with real life because real life is outside the matrix. Okay, so with that, I'll do this. I may do this another time, but I want to say I've been working on some impersonations, and maybe I'll throw those in tonight, or maybe I'll wait for another night. But right now, I did want to say, here we go. What did I say? March is going to rock and roll. And isn't it though? It's really rocking and rolling. We got off to quite a start, and it started even in February toward the end. It's kind of it keeps coming in um sort of straggly. It's like I'm seeing it mostly for March, but it starts at the end of February. Probably what I see for the next month will be a little bit into the previous month or maybe into the month after. But basically, it's going to be like this for a while. This is very interesting. I think that somebody thought that they were going to just waltz into Ukraine and they would be so frightened that they would all lay down their weapons and cower in a corner and say, okay, fine. It didn't happen. They're holding out. I've heard two stories about this. And I have no opinion one or the other. It's hard to know. But remember that I've been told that we're in a era where two things that seem to be exactly the opposite can still be the State of the Union, what's actually happening. Just like we had two people win the presidency. So, one story, or um, shall I say narrative, or shall I say way of looking at it? One way of looking at it is, oh my gosh, the Ukrainians said, no, we're not going to fall over. And although Russia's taken a lot of other areas, they can't take the main one. And they can't take that main chess piece. And they're holding out and standing strong. And I keep getting that whatever happens out of this, somehow the Ukrainians are going to benefit from all this in the long run. But right now, it's really going to be hair-raising times there. But they do have videos of the Russian soldiers saying, I don't want to fight my brothers. So the other side of this is there's a lot of corruption in the Ukraine, a lot of corruption that the US put there. And yes, this goes back to a certain family with, and a certain family member with the same surname as the Grampus. And you know who the Grampus is. I don't know if it's safe to say his name or not. I'm just going to say it. If you don't know who the Grampus is, that's our fearful leader. I mean, fearless leader. I mean, Creepy Joe. Okay. And his son is going to be in the spotlight because he has had a lot to do with the stuff that's not right over there. Hi, Drake. How you doing? And that line of reasoning, I was talking to Teresa, Gemini, and she got it from, I believe, Brooks Agnew. She was listening to him talk. That actually there's a lot of corruption from the US over there. We already know Hunter Biden. The Hunter Biden thing was squashed when it came up last time. I think it's going to come up again. I think it's coming up again. He was involved in shady dealings in the Ukraine on behalf of his family. And I think it's going to come up again. And I said that Joe probably wasn't going to do anything too strong. Sell weapons, sure, that's money, you know. But anyway, it didn't look like Joe was going to do too much helpful, really. But here's the big thing. If it's corrupt, there is the narrative that Putin is actually just tired of the corruption in the Ukraine and he wants to get rid of it. And this is him just trying to kick some US-based corruption out of the country. I don't know. To tell you the truth, I'm not getting a yay or nay on that. I may do some pendulum work on it. But once again, maybe somehow both of them are also true. Because the common person may not know all this, even if that is so. The common person may just be Hi, Richard. The common person might be just worried about keeping their home, you know? Um, they may not know any more than we know about some things. I mean, we don't get told everything our government is up to by a long shot. Probably they don't either. They're probably being kept just as in the dark as anybody. So who knows what they're feeling right now or what they're going through. It could be all kinds of things. But mostly, when I look at it, I think that somehow the Ukraine is going to come out better off after the dust settles. But I think it's going to take a while for the dust to settle. It appears to me that in some way they're winning. Uh, I can't really, I can't explain much more than that, except uh, I do see that they do need, you know what, I've just decided whatever the best possible outcome is, let that be, because there's so many convoluted things there. But I think, hey Sandra, how you doing? I think we're going to see big changes over there. And I think this is just one more nail in the current administration's coffin as far as people waking up and deciding that they've just about had enough of this. I mean, most of the people who have been awake for all of this stuff for years now have had it up past the eyes. We just don't want to hear anymore. We just don't want to deal with anymore. We're just so tired of all the BS. And hey, I'm glad you caught it too, honey, because I haven't been on for a while. I've been kind of playing hooky, but I explained earlier what happened was happening. Um, oh, another thing is I had to work on my health. That was another thing. I had to work on my health. I was getting a belly, but now this is the thing. It seemed to me more like a swelling. I was getting that it was actually a swelling. And I was led to some information that I think what I have is wheat belly. And wheat belly, as we know, wheat is weaponized. Well, I did have problems with wheat at one time, and I thought I had gotten over it. But apparently, I hadn't entirely, or it came back, or wheat is so weaponized that it just got me again, somehow. But as soon as I decided to take wheat out of my diet, I started having less swelling and my belly started to go down. And people are now saying I look thinner. And although I don't have a scale, because I kind of always saw that as a control thing. I mean, people hop on their scales and just go crazy. At one time I did that. I was like one of those people who would, live and die by the scale practically. It was I gained a couple of pounds. I lost, some item, whatever. And I said, no, this is bad. This is bad. I've got to just have other ways of seeing progress, which I am. So my clothes appear to be looser, and my swelling in other areas seems to be down, and my swelling in my belly area is down, and it's all because I took wheat out of my diet, and actually I'm gradually removing some carbs, like I'm going to remove white potatoes again. That's the next thing that's going. But there are some things that are just leaving, and I'm eating just meat and vegetables mostly now. which I feel pretty good. My energy is returning. And of course, spring is helping. The fact I feel better every spring, but that's, a huge help too. So, anyway, that's been part of it too, is having to take care of my own health. So, it's been a kind of a big thing. Um, oh, Pam, you're gonna have another grandbaby. Yay. Ooh, you're gonna be busy, Grandma. Gonna be a busy grandma. Anyway, yeah, I think I'm gonna try and come in at least on Sunday and some other nights too, and we'll see if we can get back into some kind of a swing here, because I do have a lot of information. Um, like I said, I think Hunter Biden's coming back into the picture, and you're going to hear about him a lot, and he might actually get caught this time, though. How much corruption can happen before we finally say enough? How much insider trading from, Plowsy, and how much money laundering, and how much, just how much crap before people wake up and say, it's enough is enough, and something is really happening here. Because I still have a friend who's shamanic, but he watches TV. But he still has Trump derangement syndrome. Everything is Trump's fault, even though Trump hasn't been in. Well, he started it, though. He started it. It was his fault somehow. It was weird. It's weird talking to him. Because, I mean, he's good with a lot of other things, but this, he really can't get over that. It really, in his mind, somehow all relates back to Trump. Really does. I don't know why. It can't. He's gone, dear. He's not really gone. I mean, he's still in the picture. He's not dead or anything, but he's out of office. No, this is your guy. This is the guy you wanted. And you remember, and you know what? This is the same person who was telling me how great it was going to be once he got in. He was going to solve everything. He was going to fix it all. Well, he fixed it all right, didn't he? He fixed everything. Now, as much as I am for ecology, and I hate to see, how can I say it? I really am for clean energy. I really am for ecology. However, we got to be careful how we do this all, because there are very powerful people that are fighting this, and I think they would do anything. Hello, Jessica. How you doing? Hello, James. And I think these people would do anything at all. Now they're trying to scare us with war. Again, nuclear war. I got to tell you, I remember when I was a kid, all I heard was nuclear war. That's all I heard about, man. Nuclear war, nuclear war. It was like you were going to die. Everybody was pretty sure that we were all going to die in a nuclear war. And what does that really do? When you have, it's another way to keep you distracted and frightened. And, with this lion in the room forever, which seems to be the goal. Because when you have that, you have this fight or flight. Let's talk about that a little bit. Because this is not political. I'm not blaming any one person. There are a lot of people responsible for all this, including ourselves, because we let it creep up, okay? And if our intentions and our consciousness was a little bit pure, maybe, or, we'd been on it a little sooner, we might have been able to do something. I don't know. I can't tell. That's just bygone. There's no use looking back now. What shoulda, coulda. Um, but I'll tell you that we're at a time now when we're getting ready to move on. And don't you know, we're getting ready to move on without those who have been opposing that. But if we move on, we're going to be leaving them behind. You see, energetically, they're going to be toast. And without us, they're toast. They're gone. They're you're telling an addict he can't have the crack anymore or the heroin anymore. The heroin is leaving. It's leaving forever. Well, yeah, they're going to go crazy. It depends on what you consider as the crack or the heroin. We're not going to go into what that actually equates to in this regard. But I'm sure you have your opinion if you've been awake all this time. But really, what does it do? Put you in fight or flight. Fight or flight makes you spew adrenaline, and it also makes you unable to think clearly. You can't even digest your food right. Nothing in your body works right when you're afraid. It's supposed to be a temporary condition. It's not supposed to be all the time. But see, everything they do, they're trying to make it a constant condition. And it didn't work. After a while, a lot of us were saying, I don't give a flying rat's patootie about this V or that V. It's no biggie to me. I'm either going to live or I'm going to die. And, I'm just going to go have a life. And if I don't have a life, what's the point? And by the way, I am not going to do your stupidity. I'm not going to be your experiment, your science experiment. And enough people were saying that they had to give up on that. Notice how fast this happened. When we really started to put our foot down, and a lot of this, I think a lot of it is the truckers. Yeah, that was very life-changing for some people. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I wrote a song about that. I wrote a song about it. I'm not done with the song yet, but it inspired music from me. Because some say that was another plan by the dark forces, but once again, it's spoiled. It's turned into a good thing. Every single thing is going to be like that. Everything attempted, and I'm talking about this as a psychic thing, as a clairvoyant thing, I'm predicting there is not one thing that they're going to try to do that the bad guys, what we would consider the bad guys or the dark forces, are going to try to do that's really going to work right anymore. It's just not going to work anymore. We're beyond that point. Their time is tick-tock, literally. The time is almost over. Let me tell you something else. I feel we're very, very, very close. I told you the ETs have said, you either disclose or will disclose. And they're still stalling. They're still stalling. They're dripping it out. Drip, 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 drip. Letting little bits and pieces out like they do. Like, well, we weren't entirely keeping it from you. We just found out. No, we know better, but okay, fine. But, seriously, by next year, I'm telling you, next year, oh, yeah, that's when things really move in that direction. I'm not sure what month it's going to be yet. Um, I'll probably know when it comes a little closer. Let me see if anybody else came in. Well, we said Jessica, I think was the last one. Yeah, nice try, idiots. Staging in case Putin shows force against NATO countries. Yeah, see, that's another thing. He's going to have some trouble there. Yeah, and my helper is from Poland, so she's nervous. And I said, it's not going to be what they think it's going to be. It's never going to be what they think it's going to be ever again. Everything they do is going to get screwed up and turned around, just like they inverted everything that we did. You remember? They inverted everything that we did for a while. Now the shoe's on the other foot. Everything they do is going to get inverted. Pardon me, cat is driving me freaking nuts. I will be right back. We'll have a brief intermission here. He's meowing his little buns off here. I'll be right back. What? I don't know. As soon as I walked in, he goes over, starts eating his food. He has food, he has water. You know what it is? He doesn't have me all to himself, I think. I think that's it. He doesn't have me all to himself like he'd prefer to have. He wants mommy. Mommy has been all his for a while. Oh, that's probably it. So that's little cowboy. Yeah, when it comes to nuclear war, that isn't going to happen. Don't worry about it. It's not happening. The ETs will always intervene. They don't want to see that either. Yeah. Um, Reese's Pieces. Oh, little cowboy. Yeah, he's meowing, meowing, meowing. He doesn't have me all to himself. And as he has for a while, I've been mostly hanging out a lot, hanging out around the place, not going out much because it was kind of too crazy out there. I didn't want to deal with some of the masks and crap. and attitudes and whatnot. And so mainly I was around in the building here. And the weather was kind of crappy too. So, but he's my baby. He is such a baby. He wants his mommy all the time to be rubbing his belly and scratching his head and paying attention. And as soon as I went in there and paid attention, he ate some food and now he's okay. Strange little kitty. But I'm sure separation anxiety happens too. And every time I leave, he seems to have a little bit of separation anxiety. Mm. That plant. Okay, I have some stagnant water in here. That's what I'm smelling. I thought maybe something happened in here, but I think we had some flowers and then we didn't get rid of the water. It's right. Oh, that's what it is. I was wondering what that. Okay, I can deal with that now that I know what it is. Anyway, um, so was talking about ED disclosure. That's coming. Oh, it's coming, and we are celebrating the anniversary. Yeah, it's my dad. He used to say anniversary when he meant something else. Hi, Dad. Um, the anniversary of the Phoenix Lights. 25 years ago. So they've made contact. They've made contact. They've tried repeatedly. So I think he's coming back. And, uh, but it's funny because it seems like something's changed about him. And he's coming. He's coming for it. And the timeline is looking like he's going to come back. And it's been looking that way. However, people had to get sick enough of these guys, you know? So, it's almost like we had to get people who didn't believe it. And I mean, like I said, I still got a friend that has Trump delusion syndrome. Um, he everything's still Trump, even though Trump has been out of office for a while. Still all his fault. So don't ask him how that can. They will come up with a narrative of how that can be, even though they have to really stretch for it. And I'm there like Trump derangement. Yeah, that's what they call it. It's what we've been calling it. Yeah, he's still got it. Good guy, but all I can think of that's way different is he had his regular TV programs he had to watch. That you couldn't call him during certain hours because I knew he was watching TV at night. The people who are still watching TV, a lot of them got the derangement syndrome. I think the TV was doing something. I think they were sending some kind of signal out along with the regular TV. Something was going on there. Was it just the constant repetition, maybe? Or was there more going on? That's another thing that happened. I've been having the wildest dreams. One dream, after one very restless dream, I wake up and look at my feed in YouTube, and it's showing me Dick Cavett show interviewing David Bowie about black noise. I'm like, what? Okay. Admittedly, I don't know much about what black noise actually is. What is it really? White noise, yes. Black noise, I mean brown noise, pink noise. You hear about all that. You don't hear much about black noise. Well, there's a reason. It's kind of scary. It can be very destructive. Thing is, you can't hear it. It's one of the ones you can't hear. It's noise absent. You can't hear it. The thing is, it's still a vibration. It can still do things even if you can't hear it. It can still affect things. And it's below our range of hearing. And this reminded me when I saw the interview and when I started looking into it, it reminded me of the infrasound that the Sasquatch used to stun prey. Just anybody who's been hit or to stun people to keep them away or to immobilize them. Anybody who's been hit with infrasound knows it's pretty unpleasant and can have some lasting effects. You know, you can be screwed up from it for a little while. So looking more into it, there's a couple of things that came up. Like there is this one street in London that has a big old clock tower. It's not Big Ben, it's another one. And a lot of people report time slips there. And they're wondering what the deal is, but they know that portals and things can open because of certain vibrations and conditions and so on. And there is a big underground area there that somehow could be resonating, that could be causing this extremely low sound. So they went down there and recorded a very low frequency sound that nobody could hear. But according to the instruments, it was so loud that it was like you were standing next to a 747 jet engine, which would blow out your hearing if you could hear it. You know, you think you've seen some pretty loud rock concerts, right? This is pretty loud. And so I don't know, is the stream buffering? I can't do anything about it if so. I can't do much from here. Anyway, yeah, so anyway, they found out that there is noise coming from that area, legit, but nobody can hear it. But it is so loud that a machine that can hear it is saying it's deafening. It would be deafening. And apparently that vibration, now remember that everything is a vibration, that could be making huge differences. I mean, all of these underground places could be resonating like that and could be making huge differences in how we perceive things. That could be why we're suddenly getting all of these strange cryptid creatures showing up that we never saw before. I mean, part of it is, yeah, we're encroaching, but what if part of it is there's so much resonation in these underground chambers that we're going through time slips just like this place in London. That's one thing. The other thing is there's this thing called Havana syndrome, which is called that because it started in Havana with American diplomats. So Havana syndrome has made people very sick, has made whole families really sick. It started in Havana, but spread out to everywhere. Now they're finding it all over the world, even in our capital. Some people have had to move to get away from it, and then they've had to move again. and it'll be fine for a while and then they'll get it again. And one guy said he walked in, he was hearing it, he pulled himself out of it. He pulled his wife out of it. He walked into his children's room and they were thrashing around. And when he put his head near them, he heard a kind of a rushing sound. Obviously, they were being attacked. Well, he pulled the kids out of that and they quit thrashing. And these people, they end up with the kind of symptoms you'd expect from a concussion, actually. Sounds to me like they've had a concussion. Probably a lot of little bruises to the brain from this stuff, from this vibration. Because that's what a concussion is. It's a brain bruise. So are these things being tested? Well, sure. Do they ever ask us anymore if they can test this? No, because we'd say no. If they asked us, we'd say, what? No. So they don't bother to ask. They just test it. Somebody's testing. So if you're having symptoms like that, you might want to look into that. Some of the things, then I saw a broadcast also that was how to protect yourself from a sonic weapon. They were testing the best ways to protect yourself from a sonic weapon. Well, a police shield is part of it, and police shields you don't just come by anymore. I mean, you can't buy them unless you are, police or they don't just sell them to civilians anymore. So they say. But a good pair of shop headphones will help. Noise canceling headphones don't do it. They make it worse. And they also found out that if you take that shield and turn it around so it's concave, you can direct the sound back at the source. And they said, make sure that you understand we're not doing this as any kind of a political thing. We're just testing. We're just experimenting. But that's very interesting because then some people were saying, why not just go out and wear your satellite dish? It's not good for much else. But so are sonics being used against us? Probably. If you're having something happen, you can't figure it out. I know that the building I was in before this building here, which everything's a lot different. I was in a building that every time they ran the street sweeper across the street at the plaza, our building was kind of U-shaped with the open part facing that. And it would just ring like a bell, and not in a pleasant way. It would wake us up in the middle of the night. This damn street sweeper would be over there cleaning the parking lot, and our building would be vibrating, and that thing was crumbling. The building is literally crumbling, from that. These noises can crumble things. Can destroy things. I mean, this goes back to Royal Rife, realizing he did Royal, Royal, Rife, Rife, who apparently is one of my spirit guides because he showed up at a spiritualist meeting I was at. She goes, the psychic goes, medium. She goes, Royal? Is there somebody who knows of Royal? And I'm like, oh my gosh, because I've been studying Royal Rife stuff, which is how they usually show up. I'm either looking into their work or I'm listening to their music or something that is connecting me with them. And that's how they show up. And so she goes, there's a Royal here. And I said, oh yeah, that's probably me. Nobody else said anything, didn't recognize. It's like, I think Royal Rife, because I was one of the people that really was intending hard and telling everybody about these frequencies so they could come back to light. And they have in a different form. You can find rye frequencies on YouTube, and you might want to look into those, along with solfeggios, along with binaural beats. I use these things, and it does help. I mean, I've gotten through a lot of things with the help of these different tones, frequencies. So if you've ever thought to look into that, probably a good idea is you can start for free with YouTube. And as I'm looking at myself on camera, I think I look a little better. I think I look a little healthier than I have in some former broadcasts. Um, yeah, I'm probably looking a little better than I have. So I guess I needed the rest. And whatever I was doing when I wasn't really resting, my body was resting, but the being was out doing stuff. We'll go more into what is black noise and what is the Havana syndrome and what all that, a little bit more on that maybe sometime in another show, but I just wanted to bring it up there as, and it's things like nausea, dizziness, imbalance. I've had that. And I was a targeted individual. Some of these other people I know, like I said, one of my friends even went so far as to have a stroke. Um, and might have been caused by something like that, because we don't know exactly how it happened. I know they can happen suddenly, and what if that is how they sometimes happen suddenly? We don't know. What if that's somebody testing this kind of thing? You would know because you can't hear it. Or if you're asleep, you can't tell. Thing is, that's not going to work for very much longer either. That's going to be exposed. All of this stuff is going to be exposed. Ever since 2020, the clock is ticking. So let you know. The clock is ticking. Nothing, listen to me, nothing is going to work the way they say or think it's going to work. Everything they do is going to backfire or work differently than they expect. So don't be scared. Just be prepared for a few little things, like you're going to have maybe some shortages. Yeah, we're going to have some shortages. Of course, gas prices high, of course. Yeah, that was on the horizon all for a long time. Some other things are going to go way up. They're going to continue to try to herd people into apartments and rental places instead of letting them own property. That isn't going to work out well either. That's not going to work. Um, that's being worked on. What else do I see? For now, just don't let yourself get sucked into the fear. Keep very positive ideas about what can happen. How else can it happen besides something horrific? Um, keep imagining, because remember, you create reality along with the rest of us. You are a creator. And if I haven't said it yet in this particular show, in this episode, you're divine. Remember that. You are divine. And you do count. What you think, how you feel, how much you respect yourself, love yourself, and take care of yourself. And I'm finding more and more that the way that you do that, you are also showing that respect. That's the respect you're showing to the creator. This isn't just being selfish. Your body has needs, and so does your mind and your spirit. You need to take care of that. And the more that you respect yourself, the more you're respecting, in effect, God. And if you disrespect yourself, there you go. You need to realize who you are again, that you are that important in this universe. You are part of this. You're not separate. We're taught all our lives how separate we are. We're not separate. We're all part of this. Oh, that ought to be fun. I haven't seen a movie in a while, except on here, you know. Hopefully I'll be back. You wouldn't believe how hard it was to get back into StreamYard. It was just goof on a phone here where you can't have multiple pages open. It was really hard because they kept sending me the code. Then I'd come up and then it'd be like, have to open it again. And then they'd send me, then they'd want code again. And then it's like, okay, guys, I've had it. Um, Finally, I just shut down the whole phone and said, I need some help. And said, that's it. I'm just shutting down everything until I can get it to come up to where I can create a broadcast. Well, the create a broadcast button is hidden down below where you can't see it on a phone. I'm like, they're there. Do you want to connect with your Facebook again? Do you want to connect with this and that? And I'm like, no, I just want to stream. Thank you very much. I don't really care about Facebook right now. I got some things to tell you about Meta too. Um, how that's gonna roll. I may do a breakdown of a movie I saw that was all about that, about what they're trying to do with Meta. And it was called something like The Connected, I think. It's on Amazon Prime. I saw it. And basically, it's a dystopia, kind of a Blade Runner type place, future, where everybody is basically sitting in a what looks like a dental chair or something. It's a gaming chair, and they're connected to the Matrix. It's basically the beginnings of the Matrix. You can kind of see it that way. And of course, spoiler alert, it ends badly. It doesn't end happy. But it was really, I think, a good depiction of what the plan is to make everybody so unhappy that you go right into a fantasy in order to escape. And then you get trapped in there. Because in there, it's a lot better than it is out here. Out here is so scary and so bad and so this and so that. And, you know, that they just go and hide and hibernate um, inside their virtual reality and stay there forever until they die. And there are only a few people left that are not 100% connected all the time, 24/7 in this movie. And that is basically the basis of the movie. Maybe I will find the movie and do a breakdown of what's attempting to happen, but then again, I don't know if we really need to do that because that's pretty much the whole plot right there. And then, of course, it ends badly for humanity. Humanity loses. This tells me this was something created by the other side. non-humans. Non-humans had a part in this because the humans lose, and that's the way they write things. But we're not going to lose. We're not going to lose. Not this time. No, your time is up. Drawing to a close. Jurassic Park. Should be interesting. June 10th. Oh, all the original actors. Yeah, we're divine. We are. And we do have a say, every one of us. We have a say in how this all goes. And I went into a stream yesterday and they were saying, well, we're in a timeline and I got a message and nuclear war and, and so we got a mission and so on and so forth. And I'm like, I'm not going to let that happen. I'm not going to let that happen. I mean, that was the first thing I said when I heard it. Don't worry, I'm not going to let that happen. Well, I don't know what that entails, but apparently I'm not going to let that happen. What does that mean? I don't know. What am I going to do? I don't know. Is it going to be somebody else going to do? Well, yeah, they're planning on doing something about it. Apparently, I'm going to be doing something about it too. But it ain't going to happen. We're not going to die in nuclear Armageddon. They try to scare us with that since I was just a little kid. And imagine being a little kid being told all this crap. That was your life. I mean, that was our life. We were always told that. And movies told us and music told us and just they tried so hard. But yeah, the ETs are not going to let that happen. Maybe that's it. I'm part of that. We aren't going to let it happen. It's not going to happen. Not in our timeline. So don't worry about it. Start dreaming up wonderful things that can happen in the future so that they can happen. That's right, Jessica. We are the champions, my friend, and we'll keep on fighting till the end. We are the champions. We are the champions. No time for losing, 'cause we are the champions of the world. That's another thing. I got music to do. I've been trying to get in touch with Chris. He does music. I said, God, I got music to do. I don't know how to get some of this done. I need more than what I got. I need some help with this, with getting this music done. Um, but I have so many songs now that need to be something done with them. And I don't know enough about what I'm doing with that part, with publishing and copywriting and, you know, um, that's so, to me, uh, Chinese, as read by a Hindi or something. I don't understand it. Dinosaurs don't discriminate. Richard, isn't that good to know? You wouldn't be too chewy for a dinosaur. Well, most of them anyway. You're too old to be eaten. Well, Richard, there's always a first time. Anyway, well, guys, anyway, I'm going to try to be on more. I got some stuff to unload. One of the things, and I'm asking you, please put down ideas after this is up on YouTube. I just bought some more space for these videos. I'm now going to be paying more per month for this stream so that we can keep storing videos. And then I'm going to go back and see what I can get rid of because obviously we have eaten up the whole, you know, we've hit our limit. Now they're beginning to have limits, whereas before I never heard anything about limits. Now they're beginning to have limits. So that's happening. So it's going to go from 25 to 30 bucks a month, which doesn't sound like a lot unless you don't make that much. So, you know, uh, oh, I don't, I don't like doing it, but I mean, I don't know why I don't like it. I mean, it's not like anybody really complains, but my, I'll put it up. No,